This is Miho Tanaka of Tech Berlin at Tech Open Air, here with Carson, aka PHON.O and Yuli from Reactify. Thanks so much for coming over for this interview. So you guys had an installation downstairs through Tech Open Air.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's some sort of collaboration thing with sound and interactivity. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So it's an interactive sound installation that's been running downstairs both days, today and yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a collaboration between Carsten and his music and production skills and what we do, which is interactive music installations.
Cool. And it had some sort of mobile component to it.
Yeah, so the way it works is there's a sound and lighting rig inside this room, and people connect to the installation using their smartphones. And people can control the installation, adding effects to the lights and sound. And the more people that connect at once, the more energetic the music becomes.
Right. So each person can change the lighting and with their phone. What if there's more than one person trying to change the lighting?
So we control it such that only one person has a certain effect at one time.
Okay, I got you.
So it's kind of that's part of the installation, is trying to control the chaos and trying to make sure that everything always sounds good, but still allowing people a degree of control. That's always the challenge.
So how do you sort of figure out that balance?
We distribute the effects over a certain number of people.
Yeah.
So the maximum number of people that connect is 6. So it's never going completely off the rails. But at the same time, it's every person has a different effect. So if you're the 7th person to connect, you kick the first one off. So there's only ever 6 people connected at once.
Does that annoy the person who got kicked off? Or
they're a little bit confused at first, but then they figure it out. They can reconnect, and then they can kick the other person.
Oh man, that sounds pretty brutal. But how many times? Was this the first time that you've tried this out, or have you tried this out at other? Have you tried this installation out at other occasions?
No, this is the kind of world premiere of this installation in public.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of grows and how you would iterate. I mean, do you already have some ideas as to how you might change it for the next performance, or?
Yeah, I think it's a great kind of passive installation that you can just leave running somewhere, and because when there's nobody connected to it, the music kind of chills out into this kind of ambient state.
Right.
And there are some instructions on the screen that says if you connect, and then when the first person connects, the whole thing kind of boots up. So it's the perfect kind of thing for maybe window display installations or something that can just be running somewhere unattended for weeks, months. So yeah, we've had lots of ideas about how we could maybe take this forward.
Interesting.
Also, we could try to add way more layers for more users, for example. But this costs a lot of time and work in advance. So, but this is something we could do in future, like making it really huge or something.
Yeah, cool. And from a sound perspective, how do you compose something for when you don't have much control? Because it's really in the hands of the users in terms of the interaction. How do you kind of begin to compose the soundscape to have all of this very malleable form?
Yeah, that wasn't easy, if I'm honest. So I definitely learned a lot because I had to see it in real life, in real use. But yeah, for sure, like every song has some structures. Like, I mean, you have drums, maybe, and you have synths, bass synths, whatever. So you have layers anyway, and with these layers you can work.
Right.
And just imagine an orchestra. That would be something, for example, if you want to make it super huge. An orchestra has a lot of instrument players, and you could spread it to the whole installation.
Right.
But this costs a lot of energy for sure to make it.
So for you, it was just deconstructing the layers of sound and then composing them or creating each of those layers separately to be adjusted, or?
Yeah, somehow. And also, I started from the scratch somehow, and then I built it up.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
So
and
it's like both, back and forth.
And seeing it performed, live for the first time with the people interacting with it, what were some of the sort of things that surprised you about how it kind of all unfolded?
Yeah, that's the best thing about doing installation art and interactive art, is that you never know how it's going to go down or how people are going to play with it, and you've always got preconceptions about how people are going to interact with it, but people always find ways to do things that you didn't think that they would do. So every different time we do an installation, you know, just depending on the space or how loud it is in the room or how busy the room is, it's completely different. You could do the same installation in multiple sites and it would be different everywhere, even though it's the same thing in principle. But from this time, it was really nice. I don't know. There's been a lot of people coming and sort of playing with it for a couple of minutes. Some people have stayed there for 10, 15 minutes. Wow, you know, it's really nice to see people come up and play with it. And I mean, everything is a learning curve right now. Just because the main thing that we weren't sure of was how many people were realistically going to be there at one time. Right. Because it could have been, the room could have had only 2 or 3 people in there at one time, which means that people would have never got to that 6th layer. Right. Alternatively, there could have been 30 people in the room, and that means that most people would not have any effect. So that was the biggest kind of, we weren't sure, but actually luckily it's been kind of perfect. There's always been like, 4 or 5 people in the room, you know, actually playing with it, more people in the room, but so yeah, it's been nice.
And musically, like in terms of the sound, was it something that you kind of envisaged, or something that how did it turn out sonically for you?
It was also hard to predict, you know, like we didn't exactly know till the end what kind of room we get. So there are some things I maybe would do differently now if I would know, you know, if I would know this before, what kind of room we have, I would adjust the sounds differently and would kick out maybe some drums to leave more space for synths and ambient sounds. But you never know this before, you know, and that's something interesting as well. So it works anyway, but that's something I maybe would change, you know.
Cool, okay. Well, so this is your first time at Tech Open Air?
No, I was here 2 years ago when it was in Katerholzig.
Ah, very cool. Yeah. So and you?
Yeah, for me it's the first time.
Yeah. And how has it been for your first time and for your second time around?
I like this kind of festivals and happenings and meetings. You know, I didn't have so much time to see a lot of panels, but I saw the robot panel and cool. Nick Novak sound as a weapon panel. This was my favorite so far, and met a lot of people. You know, that's I think the biggest advantage. Like seeing something and pick some interesting panels. It's always good. You know, you learn something, and that's what I love. You know, like
that's cool.
Seeing other people.
Yeah. And you?
Yeah, Berlin's always nice when the sun's shining, and the outside area is really nice, as the name suggests. There's a lot of stuff going on outside, and people are relaxing, and it's really nice. It's a good gathering of people, definitely.
How has it changed? Has it changed a lot since the Katerholzig days?
I think they really wanted to keep the vibe that was at Katerholzig over here, and it's the same, like in terms of nice energy and stuff like that. It's a great space again, and so it's really nice.
Cool. Well, thank you so much again for coming over for the interview.
Thank you.
This is Miho Tanaka for Tech Berlin.